This is the Palin Update on Mama Grizzly Radio. I'm Kevin Scholla in the new Full Battle Rattle Studios.
He is beholden to no one but we, the people. How refreshing. He's going rogue left and right, man. That's why he's doing so well.
Talk about going rogue. Joy Villa did it big league at the Grammys wearing a Trump dress. The Make America Great Again number made liberal heads explode while making closeted Trump supporters smile. Today, we're joined by Joy Villa, the talented singer and artist who, by the way, has seen her music sales skyrocket since she's come out publicly for Trump. Joy Villa coming up on Mama Grizzly Radio. Plus, we'll have the latest national and Alaska headlines and Sarah Palin news. We'll visit the Crow's Nest with Tanya Crow in California. Also from the Golden State, Kelly Carlson is on target. And a brand new installment of Liberty and Legacy with Tamara Colbert from Texas coming up. Welcome to the Palin Update on Mama Grizzly Radio. The Palin Update is sponsored by Full Battle Rattle. Full Battle Rattle, helping veterans suffering from combat-related disabilities through the healing power of music. Learn more at facebook.com/FullBattleRattleABQ. Now it's time to say hello to Joy Villa, the artist and singer who stirred the pot deliciously after wearing a pro-Trump dress at the Grammy Awards. She says the dress calls for love and tolerance. And now we are happy to have Joy Villa join us here on the Palin Update on Mama Grizzly Radio. Joy, welcome to the program.
Hello. It's so great to be here.
Well, you made quite a splash, as everyone knows by now, I would think, at the Grammys with your amazing dress. We talked to the designer of that dress, Andre Soriano, on this program a couple weeks ago, the Trump Make America Great Again dress. And, you know, Governor Palin always talks about going rogue. Let's say you certainly did that in the belly of the beast wearing a dress like that. And I got Andre's take on why he designed it, but tell us why the dress and why wear it to the Grammys.
Well, you know, it was time to start spreading the message of love and support for our president. As an American citizen, I really feel it's important to have a united front because the whole world is watching us. So, you know, of course, like every other citizen, I saw all the bad news, the bad headlines, and there was just so much negativity going on during the election and mudslinging. And then he gets elected and nobody's allowed to be happy.
Yeah.
So I said, you know what? I'm going to be proud. I'm going to say, yes, I voted for Trump. I'm proud. Let's make America great again. And let's just spread a small message of hope and sincere love and support. And Andre and I both decided this. It was his idea. It was his concept for the dress. He approached me with it because we were going to go with a different look for the Grammys this year, our third Grammys working together. And he said, what do you think if we do this? And I said, you know what? Let's do it.
And I love the words that you've been using. And, you know, people try to not associate President Trump or say conservatives with these things, but you're talking about things like love, like tolerance.
Yes.
You're talking, you're talking about inclusion. You're talking about, I mean, you said to Andre, right? You said, to paraphrase you, wait a minute, Andre, you do realize I'm a black woman and you're a gay Filipino immigrant, right? And he said, oh, you know, I did it. And it's great because he really did it because you're just Americans, like, you know, because that's how we usually think instead of putting these labels. But, you know, and I think that burns a lot of people up even more because, you know, they don't care about me because I'm white and a male and Christian and bald. But, but when you talk about, you know, women, blacks, gays, immigrants, liberals think we own you. You vote for us or else.
Right. Well, I'm vegan, I'm female, I'm black, Italian, Native American, tattooed, artist. People can't get their head around it. Yeah. And, you know, nobody owns anybody. And that's the first step is like, it's not it shouldn't be a battle left versus right. And you're on our side and how dare you betrayed and you're a traitor. They're negativity. And really, we have to come together. We are Americans first. And if you're an American citizen, Donald Trump is your president. Just so show some respect. You don't have to like the guy. I personally like him. I love him. I love what he's doing. But give him a chance. And don't crush those who are giving him a chance. Don't bully your friends and family who actually do like him, you know, and stop with the name calling. We really have to mature as a country, and it's only going to happen if we unite together in love and peace.
Now,
And that's it.
Now, you just listed some of the things you are, vegan and your background and everything
right.
else. Why Donald Trump? Why was this the candidate that you liked, and why is this someone you voted for and supported?
He makes a lot of sense to me. I started researching and looking at some of his old interviews and his videos where he said, I think it was on Oprah. He did an Oprah interview 30 years ago, and she asked him, "Would you ever run for president?" He's like, "Well, no, but I want America to be stronger and the dollar and the economy." He says, "If it gets really, really bad, then I'll run." And here he is. And I thought, wow, he definitely gave up a more cushy lifestyle. Here we have a successful businessman, a successful family man. He's got an empire he's run, and he did not have to become the president. He's definitely lost money by doing this and got a lot of heat for it. This is the hardest job in the country. So for him to do this means, and to put his family and everybody, they've been through a lot, like the campaign trail and everything. That means he really actually believes in what he said 30 years ago. And he said the same thing. He wants to make America stronger, the dollar stronger, a better economy, more American-made, American-bought, supported things here in this country. And I want that. I really want that. I want us to flourish. I want us to prosper.
Joy, that's one of the top reasons why I supported him from the beginning too, that authenticity, the believability. And here you're talking about an Oprah interview that was years, decades before he ever thought he'd actually run, not something he wanted to say for trying to get votes at the time. And
that's right.
It's amazing. You go from your first president, George Washington, to your 45th, the reluctant leader. And I think there's something to be said for that, as opposed to these guys who've wanted it from, day one because they just want the power. Here's someone who certainly does not need this, quote unquote. So
no, exactly.
Well put.
He's not a politician. I love that. He's very bold and brash in what he says, and I love that. He keeps the connection to the people. He uses Twitter. Like, what an American, what a modern American president we have.
Yeah,
it's absolutely fantastic.
Well, that's what they said when Obama used Twitter. But of course, with Trump, it's as if he's firing a machine gun into a crowd by using. It said FDR used the radio. John F. Kennedy used television. Everyone thought it was wonderful.
Yes.
Now Donald Trump's using the social media that we all use. Obviously, it's working. He's getting points across, and they're killing him on it, and we need people like you to keep speaking up. Now, you spoke up recently at a Gays for Trump rally, and again, these are events that it's heads are exploding, Joy. Let's put it that way. They just can't believe this is going on because they really think here's a black woman speaking at a gay rally for Donald Trump. I mean, the pink hat crowd cannot believe this is going on. Do you think, because we've had so many people from the LGBT community on this program who were for Donald Trump and have been very outspoken about it, he is the type who can, you talk about words like uniting. I mean, he really can do this because there are groups that are for him that aren't usually, say, a Republican.
That's right. I absolutely believe. I mean, because he's very radical. He's a very non-conformist, really. I mean, look what he's saying. He's not really a traditional Republican. He's very different in how he thinks and how he presents ideas and how he listens to his gut. He does what he believes is right.
Yes.
And he's been acting on it. His first 100 days it's not even 100 days yet. And he's been acting on it like boom, boom, boom. The same things he said he was going to do as he campaigned on it, he's doing. So this is a man of not just words, but a man of actions that I can really get behind that. And I really believe that America wants that. America wants a leader that is not afraid to lead and not sensitive, not sensitive to kind of political correctness, and not getting butthurt. It's not about that. It's about just leading the country and going forward. And that is like George Washington. He was a soldier. He was a warrior. I love it. That's what America's built on.
And George Washington was never butthurt. We could say that right here on this program. There's no doubt about it.
That's right.
Nor was Monroe or Coolidge or Reagan, for that matter, but that's for another show.
That's right.
So
you can't be when you have that kind of responsibility. You just keep on going. Doing what's right.
And you nailed it. I mean, we are the radicals now. We are the revolution of American values and inclusion. You would think that would be pretty standard thought, but
a lot of people say, it's really punk rock to vote for Trump now. It's to be pro-Trump. It's punk rock because we're anti, what's popular.
Yes.
And we're not trying to be anti anything. We're just trying to unite and support and show unity because he's our president. It's happening. It's done.
Let's
move forward.
I love about what you're doing, what Andre's doing, and so many others is that your message is so positive. It's not this, you're not combating their gutter stuff with more gutter stuff. You're doing what Michelle Obama alleged that Democrats do. You're going high when they go low. And it's great because they just don't know what the heck to do with that. Now, I want to ask you, how did things after the dress and now that we're, weeks afterwards, months afterwards, how have things gone for you? I mean, professionally, as far as your music and just the feedback that I know you've gotten a lot of crazy feedback, but you've also gotten a lot of great feedback too, right?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, things have just gone phenomenal, like really off the charts amazing. I hit number 1 on the iTunes album with I Make the Static, my album. I hit number 1 on Amazon with that album, number 12 on the Billboard charts. Number 1 on rock and alternative on Billboard. And my music is selling like crazy. Joyvilla.com. I sell my autographed copies, and I have some wristbands I just released that show support to our veterans. 50% of those go directly to the Veterans Affairs. It's something very important. And I'm telling you, the people who have called or who have emailed me, who have sent me messages, they're like, yes, thank you so much. I'm in the military. I appreciate your support for our president. Hey, I'm a mom. I didn't vote for Trump, but I love that you are outspoken and proud. Hey, I'm a gay guy, and I can't speak up right now, but thank you for doing that. I mean, it's incredible. From all different walks of life, people who just said, wow, I really admire you, and I really thank you for what you did. And I feel overwhelmed with this sort of kindness and this sort of like, it's really like wings of love. Like everyone's been lifting me up. They say yes, they're cheering me on. So for me, I just keep doing what I'm doing, and I encourage other people to just be strong, be bold. The tide is turning. It's turning towards love and power, and that really is the empowerment movement for love and free speech. We have to keep our morals in, keep our ethics in, and no more silence. It's time.
Obviously you don't do something like this for the business aspect. You're doing this because you feel the way you did and you support our president. But but it also does prove another point that the left has very wrong. The way they went after, say, Chick-fil-A, Hobby Lobby, others, whether you agree with people or not, the fact that when businesses or you, a person, stands up and says, you know what, I'm going to tell you the truth anyway, and the chips are going to fall where they may. The funny thing about it is those of you who actually do stand up succeed in a business standpoint too, with your sales going up. So whether it's you have the left who, they're all together. I mean, if you wore a Hillary dress, what would be it would have got 5 seconds of time and you'd be with the crowd. They'd all be behind you in this whole pat on the back thing, which is, award ceremonies anyway. Meantime, because you went out on a limb and it was Trump, you're going to get people giving you all these crazy threats and whatnot. Most of them, are in their mother's basement anyway. You really probably don't have much worries. But here you are going out there and saying, look, I'm this way. And it pays off for you too, professionally. And I think that's great and you deserve it. And, people, listen, my phone blew up that night. And, oh, my goodness, from Palin supporters, from Trump supporters, from everyone, they were like, did you see this? And, I mean, I posted you right away, just pictures and everything.
Oh, thank you.
And then we said we had to go track her down and get her on this program because this is great. And Governor Palin just, right away, the same thing, just thumbs up all the way to the courageous Joy Villa.
Oh, what an honor. Oh, what an honor. Please tell her that I love her and she's courageous. And I'm really glad to see her, being governor and being strong and sticking to her guns because we have to.
Yes, someone who obviously, again, was for Mr. Trump for day one, too, Governor Palin.
That's right.
Who caught a lot of flack, too, because remember.
She's caught a lot of flack. She's caught a lot of flack her whole political career. And she stood strong in the face of that. And that's what it is. You're gonna catch flack. You're going to get a lot of criticism anytime that you are a strong, emboldened individual, and especially if you go against the grain. But it's worth it in the end because eventually all the haters, all the flack, all the they have to be quiet. They lose breath. They lose power. They lose energy because you're still going.
Yeah.
You just keep on going. You keep on speaking your message, and then they go, oh, okay, fine. I can't get to them, so I guess I'll just go find something else to do.
But unfortunately, the Palins, the Villas, the Christy Swansons, the Andre Sorianos, they seem to be in the minority as far as numbers because not the thinking, but the not afraid to be public about it, not afraid to be outspoken about it. But you are now proving to others who may be afraid, look, I spoke out and look, it's been good. It's been good for me, for others, and for the country.
Absolutely. I'm really glad that my sales went up because it does show people that, I was coaching a friend. I was like telling him, I was like, listen, you may lose some contracts and some, you may have stuff to lose, some musical, whatever, but you also have a lot of fans out there to gain. The people who are like, oh, another one spoke up. And it's beautiful when we really join together with our voice and support artists that we believe in. And it's something that was unexpected, but so amazing. And I really, and look at Ivanka Trump's, her brand is #1 selling brand on Amazon. Even when people drop us or whatever, we don't need them. We don't need anyone's permission to be amazing. We don't need anyone's permission to show support and patriotism. When the message is not hate, then nobody can say anything. Really, truly, I didn't wear an F the other side or an F Hillary dress. I would never do that.
Right.
I wore a Make America Great Again dress. So if you show love and support for your team, and then you also say, hey, and you can come over here if you want to check us out, and we also love you on that other side. You can still be on your other side, but, we're going to continue to be ourselves so we can all coexist that way. Then what can they say? Because trying to shut somebody up is never right.
No, you nailed it, Joy. And that's why his rallies were so positive. That feeling you got there, it wasn't negative. Of course, there was good humor and actual facts about things Hillary has done. But the feeling there most of all was, wow, we're really behind not just Donald Trump, the man, but the message and what he was doing for the country.
Definitely.
And what you said, too, about would never wear a dress, in a negative fashion. We talked about this last week, but I think it's worth noting, what I've told my children, we laughed when we saw Bernie Sanders and Hillary Clinton signs, but I would never let them go out there and rip them up or anything. And meantime, the Trump stuff is defaced and ripped down all the time, and everybody thinks that that's some heroic deed. So, this is great.
Exactly.
Now,
not okay.
Musically, what's the latest for Joy Villa? What do we have to look forward to?
Well, I just dropped my remix album. It's called the Static Remixes. It's a EDM workout mix, pop rock, pop mix of my rock pop album. I make the Static, so that's out on iTunes. I'm releasing my single "We Are the Champions" live with Bo Jared, so that's coming out on iTunes this week. And I'm working on some new stuff,
Awesome.
A new album.
Great.
Lots of good stuff in the works.
And how can people find out about the wristbands?
You can go to joyvilla.com and click on store. It's right there.
Great. We really appreciate you being here, and thank you so much for what you did. And look, this is proof. We learned a lot tonight. George Washington was never butthurt. And the fact that Joy and I...
was any great leader ever butthurt?
And the fact that Joy and I get along so well, and she's a vegan, listen, that's more Arby's for me. So right there... this
you can have it.
Look, see this working together. This is what it's about, making America great again.
I'll take the veggies. You can take the Arby's, and we can be friends.
Joy, I love it. And by the way, my daughter likes your music. We've been playing in the car since the dress,
awesome.
And she's rocking out on the way to school to a little Joy Villa action. So.
Oh, how cool. Please tweet a video of that. I would love to see that.
Well, you know what? I will, but my son will be jumping in and photobombing it, so be prepared for Batman, okay?
Even better.
Joy Villa on the Palin Update on Mama Grizzly Radio. Hope you join us again, okay?
Okay, great. Thank you so much. God bless.
For more on Joy Villa, head to joyvilla.com. Now it's time for Sarah Palin News headlines and more about Governor Palin. Play for the USA, stand for the USA. Franklin Graham weighs in on the Pope's latest comments. Sarah Palin tells us the real reason why Trump won, and it wasn't the Electoral College or the Russians. The media tries to marginalize faith yet again, this time in an extreme fashion. Palin pens a piece on Breitbart about rhino care. Palin saying any provision whatsoever allowing congressional exemptions that would not apply to the little guy, you and me. If so, it's DOA. And remember Elaine Bennis at that Yankees-Orioles series? Well, now see why Julia Louis-Dreyfus is going nuts at a Northwestern Rutgers basketball game. To read all about these stories, visit the Mama Grizzly Radio Facebook page. To see any of the governor's posts in their entirety and to read her devotionals, visit Sarah Palin's Facebook page. Follow her on Twitter at Sarah Palin USA, and don't miss the new sarahpalin.com. Now let's head to the crow's nest. Here's Tanya Crow.
Thanks, Kevin. I'm here in California. It's really beautiful, very sunny. And I have had quite a year when it comes to friendships and communication with fellow Los Angelinos and their political views, most of which are opposing mine. But what started to really become apparent to me was how difficult it was to have a basic discourse about any of the policies that are starting to be put in place by Trump. It would turn into a personal affront. The conversation would be shut down. There'd be aggressive resistance, I'll call it now, since that word has become so widely used. But it felt truly like a resistance to even hearing me out, to allowing me to voice my opinion. And I was like, it doesn't seem like my opinion is an opinion to friends of mine that I was attempting to have a conversation with. And I kept asking the question, why to myself? Why is this so difficult? I'm willing to hear them out. They're not willing to hear me out. What's the deal? Well, I had a profound light turned on to this phenomenon when I was introduced to an article that was written by Shelby Steele in the Wall Street Journal. And I will use just one sentence of an amazing article that he wrote as the quote that rocked my world. And that is, he started a new paragraph of this article with this liberalism, and he's referring to the liberalism starting in the 1960s, and that has continued to grow and fester until now, came into being not as an ideology, but as an identity. Wow. That's huge, because that is what has occurred, and that makes the difference in being able to have a rational conversation, discourse, when it's no longer differences of opinion or differences of ideologies, and therefore the shutdown, therefore the defense, therefore the attack. It becomes personal. So definitely food for thought. Till next time, this is Tanya Crow with Mama Grizzly Radio.
Tanya Crow on Mama Grizzly Radio. More from the Crow's Nest next week. Now, on target with Kelly Carlson.
Thanks, Kevin. So yesterday I learned something interesting, and some of you out there probably already know this. However, I didn't. I was talking to some employees at Mace, the Mace company, and I said, hey, tell me about the history of Mace and what's the difference between Mace and pepper spray? And they said, well, Mace is a brand name of a company that used to actually make mace, which we don't make anymore. We as in, that's what she said. And we just use pepper spray. All of our products are natural. And I was like, really? Because I didn't really know the difference. I felt kind of silly and naive, but I truly didn't. And I said, what was mace? And she said it was sarin gas. And that has since, been done away with. But now they just use natural products. And so I had never really thought about it, but I used to call pepper spray mace and mace pepper spray. The two were the same thing to me in my mind, even though I guess I understood that they were different. So when you're referring to mace, you're referring to only the brand name pepper spray, not actual mace. Mace does not actually make mace anymore. They just use pepper spray and some other formulas. Mace doesn't necessarily exist anymore. So I found that so interesting because sometimes during Second Amendment debates, mace or pepper spray gets brought up as an alternative. And while I think pepper spray is huge, I think it's amazing. I think anybody should carry it out in the wilderness, women going to their cars, men, anybody. It's a really effective defensive tool, especially for people that don't want to carry firearms and edged weapons. So mace gets brought up and pepper spray usually referred to as the same thing. And then the legalities come up about it. And this is where I used to get confused because I didn't understand why pepper spray couldn't be used. The whole thing completely confused me. But yesterday, Mace, the corporation, straightened me out, and I'm so grateful for that. So anyways, I just wanted to share it with the rest of you in case you thought mace was still made. The actual liquid mace is not. Mace is now just the brand name of the company that used to make mace, but now just uses natural products like pepper spray. Okay, this is Kelly Carlson for Mama Grizzly Radio.
Tune in for more On Target next week. Now, the Palin Update with Kevin Scholla presents Liberty and Legacy. Here's Tamara Colbert.
It's official. President Obama so lacked ingenuity and new ideas that he had to enlist the support of home electronics retailer Best Buy's Geek Squad to help America's super spy agencies. Recently unsealed records reveal an extensive and secret relationship between the FBI and Best Buy's Geek Squad, including evidence that the agency trained company technicians on law enforcement operational tactics. They shared lists of targeted citizens and wanted to covertly increase surveillance of the public without search warrants. They meaning the FBI, encouraged searches of the Geek Squad on the computers even when unrelated to a customer's request for repairs. Oh my goodness, this is so illegal that Richard Nixon is rolling over in his grave right now with this, thinking, I got the shaft. I mean, look at this. These actions are beyond unconstitutional and really continue to raise the ire and the eyebrow as to what Obama's super spy agencies were truly capable of, especially after Trump decided to run for president. So could it be plausible these agencies would have wiretapped Trump Tower server and spied on the candidate and his campaign team? Absolutely. There was a lawless attitude within James Comey's FBI. I mean, come on. This is a nonpartisan issue. Every single news organization and American citizen should be calling for the immediate resignation of James Comey, along with wanting an independent counsel to investigate yet another FBI scandal. What in the world are we going to do? I mean, we've got the Geek Squad with such close liaisons with the FBI. They were directly supporting the FBI division computer intrusion and cybercrime programs. My husband, he is actually a computer crimes and cybercrime expert investigator. He was a partner in a company that created the world's first computer forensic software. And my husband helped set the standards in how cyber evidence and digital evidence is processed from an investigation standpoint and processed in a court of law that is still used today. This is beyond illegal search and seizure, according to my conversation with him. And my husband uses the example that it's no different than if the FBI had paid plumbers or electricians to look around the people's houses they were sent there to serve, looking for evidence for a crime, but not just looking where they can see. We're not talking plain sight, but looking in cabinets, opening drawers, looking under the bed. What's under that sink in the bedroom? There is a big difference between seeing something in plain sight or snooping through private areas in someone's home. and computers are considered private spaces, the equivalent of those file drawers or kitchen cabinets or under the bed. Now, we just have a lot of work to get done, and I'm glad to see Attorney General Jeff Sessions getting rid of the remaining 46 attorneys at the Department of Justice who were appointed by Obama, but we have to do more. Because the bigger point is that under the Obama administration, there was an arrogance and a lawlessness to every single department, that somehow everybody was there on their own mission, which was a different mission, not the mission of serving the American people and working hard every day to figure out how they can better protect their privacy and the security of all American citizens, as well as the security and privacy of our government. What about your word is your bond? Remember those Treasury men, the G men? They were awesome. They had a great reputation. And under Obama, he has single-handedly allowed the ruination of some of America's greatest governmental agencies that were revered. And now they're reviled. We need to put law and justice back into the halls of justice in our American system. It's time to restore the rule of law and the Constitution in America. And I pray every day that President Trump can continue to make headway, although with every day I am less optimistic in the rhinos on Capitol Hill who are actually undermining him and thwarting him at every turn. This is why I believe the only way that we can truly drain the swamp is not working against the president, not working against anybody else, but actually working for the American people and using the Constitution to save the nation. And Article 5 is that opportunity that we have using the Constitution to fix the structural issues at the federal level. It is time that citizens get back to self-governance. We as American citizens have the ability to extricate this kind of slime and cancer from every dark corner and hallowed hall of American government. I love every single day what I get to do with the Convention of States Project because I get to help make America great again, because I'm educating citizens and legislators as to their constitutional right and duty as sovereigns to return the power back to the people in the states. This super spy agency overreach is just a tiny example of the cancer of great federal overreach into the everyday lives of American citizens. This is how far our nation has fallen from the goodness and the rightness of how we were founded. But thankfully, we have a constitutional and legal way to put D.C. back into that tiny little box of limited government. You can help me at conventionofstates.com and tweet me this week. I want to know what you think. At Tamara Colbert, hashtag Mama Grizz Radio. Have a super duper week, everybody. And remember, call your federal legislator this week. Tell them you want nothing less than a full repeal of Obamacare. And you want to be able to start from scratch. You don't want Paul Ryan's Obamacare light. And by the way, check Mark Levin's website. Check Mama Grizzly. We've got great references, but folks, you need to do the research. We don't need Paul Ryan's Obamacare light. We need a full repeal of Obamacare as President Trump has asked for. I'm Tamara Colbert from Mama Grizzly Radio.
Tamara Colbert in Texas. Tune in for more Liberty and Legacy next week. And to learn about Convention of States, head to conventionofstates.com. The Palin Update, including Liberty and Legacy, on Target. And The Crow's Nest is on demand and available for download. So just head to mamagrizzlyradio.com, pick the show you want to hear, and you can listen anywhere, anytime. Well, that'll just about do it for this edition of The Palin Update on Mama Grizzly Radio. Visit mamagrizzlyradio.com for continuing coverage of Governor Palin. Also, like Mama Grizzly Radio on Facebook and follow along on Twitter at Mama Grizz Radio, at Kevin Scholla, at Tamara Colbert, at Tanya Yoga 13, and at FBRABQ. And I'm doing some writing for Breitbart News. Go to Breitbart.com and search Kevin Scholla. I'm also contributing to SarahPalin.com. Please check out my latest piece this week. Honored to be working on the governor's new site. I want to thank Tamara Colbert, Tanya Crow, Kelly Carlson, and everyone here at Mama Grizzly Radio. Thanks to Joy Villa, and thank you for listening today. A special thanks to our sponsor, Full Battle Rattle. Visit Facebook.com/Full Battle Rattle, ABQ. The Palin Update is produced by Lena Anderson, the Andy L. Kramer, and Lori Ann Lewis. Please be sure to join us again next time for another edition of the Palin Update right here on Mama Grizzly Radio. I'm Kevin Scholla. Have a pleasant day.